Amigos de Islam. Some see Islam as I see the Kardashians. They think it's an extremist religion, a dangerous threat, and that most of their followers are ignorant retrogrades. Well, this week, Islam was a discussion as big as Kim's derriere and as deep as the... well, you know. When people talk about ISIS and Islam, they tend to take one of two positions. Either that ISIS has nothing to do with the real Islam, or that ISIS truly represents the ugly truth of Islam. Is it hard to discuss? You bet. Are we being judgmental assholes? Maybe. The thing about this matter is that it has to do more with context than with theology. Islamophobia is spreading all around the mass media, and surprisingly, not only by Fox News. Ignorance is spreading all over our favorite shows.
Vast numbers of Muslims across the world believe, and they do, that humans deserve to die for merely holding a different idea, or drawing a cartoon, or writing a book, or eloping with the wrong person. Not only does the Muslim world have something in common with ISIS, it has too much in common with ISIS.
Like all the Abrahamic religions, Islam is over 1,000 years old, and in that time has developed a tremendous wealth of traditions, texts, ideas, prominent figures, and institutions past and present. So if you want to find texts that validate every violent act, you will find them. And if you want to find texts and actions that promote tolerance and understanding, you will find them too. But you know where you can find also both these things? Christianity. Yep, Philip Jenkins, author of Jesus Wars, said to NPR a couple of years ago, much to my surprise, the Islamic scriptures in the Quran were actually far less bloody and less violent than those in the Bible. What? Are you suggesting that religion whose main imagery is a man crucified with nails in his hands and feet, sweating blood, and wearing a crown of thorns is violent and sadistic? Well, you'd be surprised. Or not, really. And yes, if you read Quran 9:5, slay the idolaters wherever you find them, arrest them, besiege them, and lie in ambush everywhere for them. You'll think, Jesus, this is pretty hardcore. Well, not Jesus, you get it. But then, if you read book 1 of Samuel, when God instructs King Saul to attack the Amalekites and utterly destroy all that they have, and do not spare them, God says through the prophet Samuel, but kill both man and woman, infant and nursing child, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. Camel and donkey! This text is not only against putting the other cheek. Peter should throw some paint on this one. And not only is God being the screenwriter for Tarantino, he's also being very, very specific about killing a child and a nursing child. Well, I have to kill these kids now. Wait, this is a nursing child. I know. What about him? I have to look it up. Oh yeah, you can kill him. Oh, and there's a teenager as well? Nope, you have to spare them. Jesus, again? You know what? I kill him anyway. Not only are almost every religion full of violent passages, they are also full of the most stupidly morbid rules. Like not to boil a kid in its mother's milk, explained in Exodus 23:19, or that slaves shall obey their earthly masters with deep respect and fear, as they will serve Christ, Ephesians 6:5. But the problem here is not religion itself. Yes, it is true that Islam text and history might shape how a violent and hateful person channels their hate and violence. But it is not the case that Islam will make them hateful or make them violent, you see? Take modern society, for example. We now are not endorsing violence against women anymore. We're paying them and calling it a sport.
Ron is teeing off on her here. Ron trying to finish it. She's in trouble. Ronda with the knee now. Petro has big trouble.
Hey, it's a very professional, a very disciplined. But then why are we taking Islam and putting it in the same basket as ISIS? Because everybody is. Last month, Bill Maher called Islam the only religion that acts like the mafia, that will fucking kill you if you say something wrong. Another guest on the panel, author Sam Harris, called Islam the motherlode of bad ideas. It was left to the guest Ben Affleck, to call these opinions gross and racist. There were, of course, no Muslims on the panel who might have the chance to speak up, because in America, this is how we hear other voices, by not hearing them at all. Sometimes the media is so effective at engendering Islamophobia that you can see attitudes hardening right before your eyes. Just as the golden furry asshole has said that the Syrian refugees could be a Trojan horse for ISIS. So let's dig in what we know and we don't know about ISIS. First of all, ISIS stands for Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. In 2013, the group once known as Al-Qaeda in Iraq, now based in both Syria and Iraq, were branded as ISIS. You know, because Al-Qaeda of Iraq is not catchy enough. Let's change the name. It worked for Coke in the 90s. Oh wait, it didn't. Their main goal is that they want to establish a caliphate in Iraq. Even after ISIS split with Al-Qaeda in February 2014, in part because ISIS was too brutal even for Al-Qaeda, ISIS's goal remained the same. Wait, how can you be too brutal for Al-Qaeda? These are terrorists. It's like being kicked out of the Power Rangers for being too contact avoiding. ISIS funds itself through oil and extortion racket. So that's why there's no surprise that the US is bringing freedom to those poor lands. But here's the interesting fact about ISIS. ISIS not only offers you guns, violence, and women after you die, it is also your best option for it, as explained by Max Fisher. This money goes a long way. It pays better salaries than moderate Syrian rebels and the Syrian and Iraqi professional militaries, both of which have suffered mass desertions. So, do you want to spread terror in the hearts of the infidels, but it doesn't pay too good? Are you tired of killing time, but instead you want to kill some good old sinners? Are you so ugly that the only way to get some pussy is by self-sacrifice? Well, join ISIS, the best option for not having any option at all. ISIS has managed to draw recruits from 90 different countries, with 3,400 people traveling from Western countries to fight in the Middle East. They grow faster than the man bun, with the same horrific effect. But how they communicate? They use modern tools like social media to promote reactionary politics and religious fundamentalism, just like the group 1 Million Moms, but with guns. Well, exactly like 1 million moms. And here's a funny fact, if there's something funny about this. According to a recent article, Iraqi forces are much stronger than ISIS, but the Iraqi army is kind of a mess. That's right, the Iraqi government and all its allies outnumber ISIS by a fair margin. Over the course of a conflict, Iraqi forces have adapted to ISIS's rapid offense tactics, denying ISIS the element of surprise and allowing the Iraqis to start retaking ISIS territory. US airstrikes have also seriously hampered ISIS's ability to mass troops, a critical part of its early strategy. So, what's happening? Well, we call this the Amy Winehouse dichotomy. They have the power to conquer the world, but they're a fucking disaster. Take ISIS's initial victory in Mosul. 30,000 Iraqi troops ran out of 800 ISIS fighters. Those were 40-1 odds. It's done! Then, Iraqi troops ran because they were poorly deployed and didn't want to fight and die for this government. So they're not lacking of soldiers. Their soldiers are lacking of trust in their government. At Saturday night's Democratic debate, Hillary Clinton argued that it's not just wrong to blame all of Islam for the acts of radical terrorists, but also potentially dangerous to America's national security interests. You see, even she gets it. And if you make somebody as stubborn as Clinton to think not to blame others, even if she's still from head to toe covered in Benghazi's shit, you are in the right track, baby. From El Pulso, we just want to follow Reza Aslan's take on this matter. Islam doesn't promote violence or peace. Islam is just a religion, and like every religion in the world, depends on what you bring to it. If you're a violent person, your Islam, your Judaism, your Christianity, or your Hinduism is going to be violent.
There are marauding Buddhist monks in Myanmar slaughtering women and children. Does Buddhism promote violence? Of course not. People are violent or peaceful, and that depends on their politics, their social world, the way that they...
No way! Fucking Buddhists too? Jesus! Well, not Jesus. You get the point. Just share this video with your friends and make the internet a little less stupid. Try this out. Well, that's it for us. My name is Chumel Torres and this is El Pulso. Your subscriptions and thumbs up are greatly appreciated. I'm gone, but before I go, I would like to remind you, like every week, los amo, estupids.